Hello. Today we are working on packet number 8. So our first page of packet 8 is Sally's aunt is knitting her a striped scarf. Her aunt will use equally sized sections of red, blue, and yellow yarn in that order. Sally wants the scarf to be 140 centimeters long when she finished, and she wants it to end with a red stripe. Each stripe measures 5 centimeters. How many blue stripes will there be in the finished scarf? So first thing I'm going to do is I like to look at my picture of it. So I'm going to draw my bar. That's going to be my scarf. I know that scarf at the end is going to be 140 centimeters. I know that we're going to have a pattern of red, blue, yellow going in that order. And she wants to end with a red. So that last one of the red is throwing me off because my pattern isn't continuing. So I need to get rid of this last one that's not a part of a full pattern. And we know each stripe measures 5 centimeters. So I want to subtract that 5 centimeters so I can see what my full scarf is without that last extra red piece to it. So I'm going to subtract 140, subtract out that 5 centimeters, and I'm left with 135 centimeters. So I know that 135 centimeters, I've got 3 colors, the red, the blue, and the yellow. So I'm going to divide my 135 centimeters up by my 3 colors. And I'm going to get an answer in centimeters. How many centimeters are left for each color? But now that color, that's not how many sections of color are, that's how many centimeters we have for that color. So that answer that we get is just telling us how many centimeters we have of one of the color chunks. Well, there are 5 centimeters for each stripe. So I need to divide that up by my 5 centimeters to get my number of stripes. So that will give me the number of stripes. And that's what we want to know is how many blue stripes are there. So if you divide it up by the colors and then divide it up by our sections of 5 centimeters, you will be able to find out how many blue stripes there are. Our second page, let's see what that says. This number has 4 digits. So every digit is an odd number. None of the digits is 9. So I have 1, I have 3, I have 5, I have 7. There's no 9. So those are my 4 digits. Every digit in the number is different. So I'm going to use these 4 numbers, all 4 of them, no repeats. The smallest digit is in the thousands place. So if I have my number, here's my comma for the thousands, the smallest digit is going to go here, and the greatest digit goes in the ones place. Then I have 2 numbers left over, and it says the number is the greater of the 2 possible remaining numbers. So I'm going to put the bigger number here because that's going to be bigger than if I reverse it. So you're just going to have to punch those numbers in where they belong on that number. My next page, I have the 5-card challenge. All of your equations should equal 10. Just a reminder that as we do this, there should only be one equal sign in our equation. I have some friends who would do something like this. They might do 8 plus 7 equals 15 minus 5 equals 10. That is not an equation because you are using multiple equal signs. We don't want to put that in. You can do that off to the side to make sure you're doing your math right, but then you need to rewrite it with just one equal sign. So this is the proper way to write your equation with only one equal sign. This is fine to do when you are working over to the side to make sure that your math works. This is what I need to see as your answer for one of your equations. Our next page is our pattern page. Math 6 needs to complete the table for the number of blue and yellow blocks all the way down to here. We don't need to worry about the geometry section. So if we look at figure 1, we can see there is one yellow, no blues, and we don't need to do the total blocks. So we just have to do the blue and the yellow blocks. Figure 2 has 5 yellows and 4 blues. Figure 3 has 9 yellows and 16 blues. Figure 4 has 13 yellows and 36 blues. So I need to try to figure out what the pattern is to complete this table. If I look at my yellows, I can see we go from 1 to 5, 5 to 9, 9 to 13, and I see that we are increasing each time by adding 4. When I look at my blues, I see we have a 4, which I know is 2 squared. We have a 16, which is 4 squared. We have a 36, which is 6 squared. So if I look at that pattern, 2 squared, 4 squared, 6 squared, makes sense that my next one would be 8 squared. And then I would have 10 squared. And I would continue on in that pattern to find out my blue shapes that, or my number of blues that come next. So complete for the blue and the yellow. So you need to do here and here. You can do the total blocks, but you do not have to. You do need to go all the way down to the 8th row. Our next page, if we look at the questions, it says, answer the questions for your class. There's a pre-algebra, there's an algebra, there's a geometry. There is no math 6. So what we are going to do for this one is this is an extra credit page. You do not have to do this page, but if you want to do the pre-algebra, you will earn an extra point. So you won't be punished if you don't do it. I'm not going to take any points away, but you could add an extra point if you do it. So what is the surface area of the figure? The surface area formula is, we have side squared times 6. Because, let me write that S better. We have side squared, that's the area of one of the sides of our square, or of our cube. One square side times side. There are 6 sides on our cube, so we're going to multiply that by 6. So we know that the volume of this cube is 729 feet. So to find the volume, that is side cubed. So to find the length of one side, we would take that volume of 729 equals side cubed. So you need to figure out what number, if we multiply it by itself 3 times, side times side times side, would equal 729. Once you know what that number is, you can plug it in to our surface area equation to find the answer. So again, this is not a page that you have to complete for this math packet, but it will count as an extra credit point if you so choose to do this page. Next page, we have, oh, good geometry page. We have 7 different shapes, 7 different figures are shown. Write the figure's formula for the volume, then provide possible values for its dimensions. Figures are not drawn to scale. So Math 6 needs to find for 2 of these 7. I'm going to write down the formula for each one. You can decide which two you want to do. If you so choose to do more than what we have to do, that is just excellent extra practice for you. You do not have to go on, just like with our pattern page, you just have to do the Math 6, but if you choose to do more, you can. And I'm also going to give us a couple of links that Mr. Schultz had plugged in for me to help us out, to help us try to narrow down the missing one. So our formula for our rectangular prism is length times width times height. So we're going to say if our base length is 12 and the width is 3, what might the height be? So 12 times 3 times h, 12 times 3 times h equals 144. So that's when we take what we know about our opposite operations. If we want to get the h by itself, the height by itself, and we're multiplying, we're going to want to do the opposite and divide. So if you divide that 144 by 3 and then divide that by the 12, you will be left with just the height. For our cube, our formula is side cubed, or side times side times side, which is each side, one is the length, one is the width, one is the height. Because it's a cube, they are all the same. And if you did the problem on the page before, you had to figure out what the volume was of 729 feet cubed. That's going to help you with this answer. For our triangular prism, our formula is 1/2 of the length times the width times the height. So the length times the width times the height. So I'm going to give us a couple of here. So we've got, if we have the length of 10 and the width of 8, what would our height be? Set it up the same way that we do the rectangular prism and divide up, do those opposite operations. Formula for our rectangular pyramid is the length times the width times the height, and we're going to divide all of that by 3. And we're going to say our base length is 16 and our width is 12. Formula for a cylinder is pi r times r squared times the height. And we're going to say that r, the radius, is 3. Then we have our cone. Formula is pi r squared height divided by 3, and we're going to say that height is 2. And for our sphere, the formula is 4/3, 4 divided by 3, times pi times the radius cubed. Now again, we only have to do 2 of the 7. You can choose to do more if you would like. Let's look at our next page. This one is our area page. First thing we have to do is the area of the whole figure. So side times the width times the length. So 15 times 30 will get us our full area. Then we want to just know the shaded region. That's a goofy shape. In order to find that, we're going to find the area of the white to take that away from our full area figure. So to find the white, if we know this part right here is 4 and all together it's 15, that leaves us with 11 on this side. And if we know the full side is 30 and we take away the 8, that leaves us with 22. So in order to find our white section, we're going to do that length times width. So 11 times 22. We're going to take this answer and we're subtracting it from that total amount. We're taking out the white, and that is gonna leave us with just the shaded area. So we take the full area, we subtract out the white area, and we're left with just the shaded area. And that is it for our packet number 8. Have fun, and make sure you ask me if you have any questions. Have a wonderful day.